They can hear us, right?
They can hear.
Can the attendees? Okay.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Frida. I'm from the marketing team at Sperax. And today I'm extremely excited to have Joe Yu, our researcher, and Nick White, co-founder of Harmony Protocol, for our first joint virtual event. To start off, I'm stoked to announce that Sperax's highly anticipated testnet will be launched by the end of July. And as for Harmony, it just recently rolled out its mainnet. Not only that, it announced another major partnership with Binance to list BUSD on Harmony. So we figure it would be rewarding for both platforms to share some experience and lessons learned throughout this journey of scaling infrastructure. Following Suite, Joe and Nick will share their perspectives on the hottest topic at the moment, decentralized finance. And finally, we'll leave around a few minutes for Q&A, so please type your questions in the chat box. Without further ado, let's dig right into the panel today. Why don't we start by introducing ourselves to the audience? Joe, would you like to start?
Yeah, of course. My name is Joe. I'm studying mathematics of computation now in UCLA. Which is basically like mathematical side of computer science. My primary focus is cryptography, which is of course very related to blockchains. And also I work as a researcher in Sperax. My primary job is to design the BDLS protocol with our team. I think that's it.
Okay, Nick?
Hey guys, well, first of all, thank you for hosting Frida and Sperax. This is going to be a really fun event. And thanks everyone for joining from wherever you are in the world. I also just want to say that we have a Harmony community call every Thursday at 12 p.m. Pacific time. So for those of you who are joining this call, you might also enjoy our weekly Harmony community call. But as Frida said, I'm Nick White. I'm co-founder of Harmony. And we are a scalable layer 1 blockchain protocol that uses proof of stake and sharding to make our transactions have much faster confirmation times. So currently we have about 8-second confirmation times and much cheaper. Our current transaction fees are significantly lower than what you'd find on Ethereum. They're about 1/10,000th of a cent. So what our mission is to scale trust for billions of people. And one of the first steps on that goal is to democratize access to financial services. So as Frida mentioned, one of our big first partnerships after we launched Mainnet in May is to launch our very first stablecoin. It's going to be the Binance USD stablecoin. And we're looking forward to expanding stablecoins for payments and remittances, as well as launching decentralized finance applications on Harmony that can then be all rolled into kind of a financial ecosystem that will be cheaper and faster and ready for mainstream adoption.
I see. Okay. That's really cool. Now back to Joe. Could you disclose with the audience about some updates on the Sperax testnet launch?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'll first just introduce to the audience like what Sperax is, because I think in case some listeners are not that familiar with us, we want to solve one single problem, that is the friction and time cost now in the money transfer industry, financial industry. And we approach to solve this problem definitely by blockchains. And we solve this by provide a new, better public blockchain. And we hopefully to be a better Ethereum, because Ethereum has high gas fees and low speed, as everyone knows. And our HQ is in Silicon Valley. Our members are in Singapore, China, Korea. And I have to mention our excellent academic advisor, Professor Wang Yongge. I worked with him for a long time. He's one of the top cryptographers in the US. And also we have two, I would say, eminent economic advisors. One is Christopher Pizarris, who is one of the Nobel Prize winner in economics. And also we have Ryan Zuer, a former partner of Polychain Capital. And in terms of capital, we last December we just raised $6 million seed round funding, led by famous VC companies like Outlier Ventures. And technology-wise, we want to provide two innovations on the current blockchain industry. One is a better consensus protocol, because consensus protocol is the core of blockchain technology. We call it BDLS, consensus protocol. And also we want to provide a new, better token economy design. And hopefully, I think our progress is doing pretty well. I just talked with our development team leader, and he told me he expects our testnet to be fully launched at the end of this month. Actually, now we already can generate blocks, but there are still some issues to fix in the development process. But I expect to be like middle July, even more optimistic. Yeah, people will see our testnet. Yes.
That's great. That is really exciting. This is going to be a major milestone for Sperax.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Back to Harmony, there are so many lessons we would like to learn from you. So, for example, to start with, how is the performance of Mainnet so far, and would you like this journey of building infrastructure?
Well, first of all, I just want to say congratulations to your guys' team on the successful fundraise and the fact that you guys are building a new blockchain protocol and pioneering, especially a new consensus protocol with it. Because I think that there's still so much innovation that needs to happen on the fundamental layer one, right? We're still so early in this whole revolution, and I think there's a lot more space to explore in terms of the design of how these protocols are built. And it's cool that you're focused a lot also on the economic design, because that's there's like two sides of building a blockchain. There's the actual technology and the code and the computers running the protocol, but there's also the human and the financial and economic engine that drives the adoption and makes it all viable. So I just think that you guys have a really good approach, that you're thinking about both those things from the very beginning. And it's a really big moment when you launch your testnet. I remember we launched our very, very first, we called it a devnet actually. It wasn't really quite a testnet, in December of 2018, I think. And that was really a great moment for us, just because it made things real. It was something that put out there in the public for people to see and interact with. And from there, it was really an iteration towards a more robust testnet until we felt comfortable on launching something that would genuinely be out in the public and genuinely have value on it. So it's really like it's a journey, and it takes a lot of iteration. And I think for us, some of the things that I can share in our experience was that it's more complex. That getting the code and getting the logic of the protocol to a place where it all is fixed and you think it'll work is half the battle. The second half of the battle is making it real and functional in the wild, because there are going to be all kinds of new problems that arise when you're putting the code actually out there and sending packets over the internet, and things are packets are going to get dropped, and connections are going to get messed up, things are going to overflow. And so in terms of building the actual real network, there's a lot of networking and sort of internet protocol experience and knowledge that has to be baked in. So that's one piece of advice for you guys. And the other piece is that building a validator community is very important. I don't know exactly how your consensus works, but starting at the testnet to involve people who will, if in the future, run real nodes when you launch the mainnet is going to be a huge asset for you, because those people become the core of your community. They're going to run the infrastructure. They're going to probably invest in your native currency, and they're also going to help you probably build out some of these things. We have a very strong core community in the form of our testnet called Pangea, and out of that testnet formed this team called the Pangea Ops, and they ended up becoming so heavily involved in Harmony that they built out tons of different aspects of the core protocol itself. And so I can't even emphasize how amazing it is to see how the community can grow and take on a life of its own. I think the testnet is really the seed of that too. So that's from, you know, our experience having gone from testnet to mainnet, what I would want to tell myself, you know, a year and a half ago.
So
thank you for the advice.
Year and a half to generate your mainnet from testnet to mainnet. Is that like a normal timeline for blockchain rollouts?
Not necessarily. So that's from the devnet to the fully launched mainnet was roughly a year and a half. So, and I think that's partly because also we were very ambitious and we wanted to make sure that what we launched had staking and sharding together. We really wanted to be, you know, the first team to achieve that. And the whole sharding piece of it adds so much complexity because the sharded architecture, there's so many more things that can go wrong because it's a much more complicated protocol. And there's all these cross links between the different shards, and, you know, the beacon shard has to process a bunch of extra things. So I think that's why we were took longer. But I still feel pretty proud that we were able to launch our mainnet within 2 years of doing our initial fundraise. Mm-hmm. So it really comes down to execution speed, but I have a feeling, sounds like you guys are executing very quickly.
Yeah, how's the performance so far, the mainnet?
It's doing really well. So we kind of knew what to expect because our testnet was pretty. So well, actually, let me also explain a little more. We launched a mainnet in June 2019, but that was a permission mainnet. So the foundational nodes, we called them, who were in that mainnet, were on a whitelist. So it wasn't a fully public permission list, and there was no staking. So when we launched staking on our mainnet, that was this past May, and to me that was kind of the genesis of the real open blockchain ecosystem of Harmony. And so we kind of knew, because we had been running the mainnet in a permission way for about a year, we knew what to expect when we launched staking. So we knew that the block time would be roughly 8 seconds, and we knew kind of what the fees would look like. So it's been really good, honestly. There have been hiccups, and we've had to do some fixes of especially things on the beacon shard 0, because certain things were getting backed up. But overall, considering how complicated our architecture is, I think it's been relatively smooth. And a lot of that, again, has to do with doing really robust testing up front. And, you know, we had actually, we had about 4 separate stages of testing leading up to the mainnet. So the last month and a half before we really launched the real thing, we went through these 4 different phases, and at each phase there were these basically there were certain boxes we needed to check. Like we needed to have this much uptime without any bugs, and we needed to have, you know, this many validators running, and all of that before we passed to the next level. And then there were new checks boxes we needed to check until we got finally to ready to launch the real mainnet. So the testing part is really important.
That is really wise to save a lot of time and space to create these buffers to secure the performance of the mainnet. Yeah. What would you tell yourself a year and a half ago?
I think, well, a lot of things I've already said. I would say one of the things about the importance of testing also is that when you're doing a blockchain, when you're building a blockchain protocol, you're dealing with real money and real value. So I think there's a lot of sort of entrepreneur mindset and mind share that's been kind of captured by this idea of move fast and break things. But the truth is that in blockchain, that you kind of want to do the opposite. You want to make sure that everything is ready to a T before you launch. So you know, another big part of being ready to launch is doing an audit. So getting a professional company to audit the protocol. And so I had a group called, what are they called again?
Channelist.
The name is not coming to me.
Is it channelist?
No. Oh man, I feel really bad. I can't remember the name. Anyway, they're really top team when it comes to core protocol audits. And so that's another thing that I really recommend. I mean, it's a must. You have to do that if you're going to actually launch something that could be worth, you know, millions of dollars. You don't want, and your community is trusting you, the investors are trusting you. So you have to be, you know, extra sure.
Yeah, of course. I mean, blockchain technology is all about security, right?